Picture this. A lone samurai stands poised in the early morning mist, eyes fixed on an unseen opponent. He inhales deeply, his core bracing, spine neutral, breath controlled. With one precise motion, he cuts through the air, fluid, powerful, efficient.
This isn't just swordplay. It's biomechanics, centuries ahead of modern sports science.
Did the samurai train like today's elite athletes? What if I told you that the very principles we rely on in physical therapy, elite sports performance, and movement culture were already deeply ingrained in samurai training centuries ago? In this story, we'll uncover the connection between the ancient warrior training and today's cutting-edge methods in core strength, ancient techniques in core stability, breath control, and injury prevention, and the secret behind their immeasurable strength, endurance, and precision. Let's dive in. Who were the samurai? The samurai were the elite warrior class of feudal Japan from the 12th to the 19th centuries, serving as military retainers for lords, daimyo, and the shogun, the military ruler. Their primary duty was to protect their lord's interest, maintain order, and enforce laws. Bound by Bushido, the way of the warrior, they lived a code of honor that emphasized loyalty, discipline, and self-sacrifice. Most people know samurais from movies of popular culture, but who are they really? The birth of the samurai was between the 8th and 12th century. It all began in the chaos of feudal Japan. As the imperial court in Kyoto weakened, the countryside turned lawless, plagued by bandits and rival warlords. To survive, noble families hired warriors, skilled horsemen and swordsmen, who swore loyalty to their lords in exchange for land and power. These warriors became known as samurai. At first, they were little more than hired swords, but as their skills sharpened, so did their philosophy. They embraced Bushido, the way of the warrior, a code demanding loyalty, courage, and mastery of combat. They were no longer just fighters, they were an elite class bound by honor. War and glory, 12th to 16th century. The samurai proved their might in battle after battle, shaping the fate of Japan, and in 1185, the Minamoto clan crushed their rivals and established the Kamakura shogunate, the first government ruled by samurai. For centuries, these warriors fought for control, while their blades deciding the fate of empires. One of the greatest trials came in 1274 and 1281 when Mongol Empire, one of the most fearsome forces in history, attempted to invade Japan. Outnumbered and facing superior weapons, the samurai stood firm. As they fought desperately, a typhoon struck, sinking the Mongol fleet. The Japanese called it kamikaze, the divine wind, believing that the gods had saved them. The samurai became legends. The Age of Peace and samurai's transformation, 1603 to 1868. After centuries of bloodshed, the Tokugawa shogunate unified Japan in 1603. The wars ended, and for the first time, the samurai had no battles to fight. Without war, many turned to administration, philosophy, and the arts of the sword, perfecting martial arts like kenjutsu. But peace came at a price, and the once feared warriors became bureaucrats. They studied poetry, calligraphy, and the teachings of Zen Buddhism. Their swords, once used in battle, became symbols of rank rather than the tool of war. The samurai spirit remained, but their world was changing. The dual nature of the samurai, they weren't just heroes, but they were also known as villains. Samurai were protectors, ensuring stability and justice in times of peace. They were also cultured, practicing arts like poetry, calligraphy, and tea ceremony, which enriched Japan's cultural heritage. Kiriste gomen. As warriors, they were trained to kill and could be ruthless in battle. They had the legal right to execute commoners who disrespected them. During periods of civil war, like the Sengoku period, samurai clans fought for power, causing widespread destruction. Their morality often depended on the era. In war, they were brutal. In peace, many transitioned to bureaucratic roles and focused on governance and culture. Figures like Miyamoto Musashi are celebrated as legendary warriors, while others are remembered for their cruelty or ambition. Before we dive into the connection between samurai warriors and modern fitness, we must first uncover how they achieved the brutal effectiveness of their training. The samurai didn't have modern gyms or scientific research, but their training methods were unbelievably effective. Battle was their proving ground. Their regimen combined physical, mental, and spiritual disciplines, creating warriors who were not only skilled, but also resilient and focused. Samurai practiced a variety of martial arts collectively known as buge or budo, which were essentially for combat readiness. Kenjutsu, swordsmanship. Training with the katana involved forms, such as kata or waza, sparring, and cutting techniques to master precision, speed, and control. Kyujutsu, archery. Samurai were skilled archers trained to shoot accurately from horseback or on foot using yumi, the longbow. Sojutsu, spearmanship. Training with the yari, the spear, involved thrusting, parrying, and footwork drills. Jujitsu, unarmed combat. Samurai learned grappling, joint locks, and throws to defend themselves if disarmed. Naginata jutsu. The naginata, a pole weapon with a curved blade at the end, was for slashing and keeping enemies at a distance. Not only were technical skills the foundation of samurai training, but strength was another key pillar. Samurai engaged in exercises to build strength, stamina, and agility. Long-distance running and marching in armor built resilience and endurance. They practiced swimming in full armor to prepare for water-based battles. Horseback riding. Equestrian skills were crucial as samurai often fought on horseback. Lifting heavy objects like stones, logs, or sandbags built strength. Climbing and jumping. These exercises improved agility and the ability to navigate through rough terrain. But what if I told you that none of that matters if you're weak mentally? Mental and spiritual training were the key to success on the battlefield. Physical fitness was only part of the samurai's preparation. Mental and spiritual discipline were equally important. Meditation, zazen. Samurai practiced Zen meditation to develop focus, calmness, and clarity under pressure. Bushido, the way of the warrior. The samurai code emphasized virtues like courage, loyalty, and self-discipline. Kendo, the way of the sword. Beyond physical skill, kendo training emphasized mental fortitude and the development of a warrior's spirit. At this point, you might already notice similarities between a 1,000-year-old martial art and your visit to the gym yesterday. Let's dive into the specific examples. Kata, creating motor engrams for combat. One of the most effective training methods used by the samurai was a kata, a structured, repetitive sequence of movements designed to program the nervous system. By repeating these sequences thousands of times, they created so-called motor engrams, deeply ingrained movement patterns stored in the brain and spinal cord. These motor patterns allowed the samurai to react instinctively in combat. Modern athletes use the same principles, whether it's a boxer refining their jab, a golfer practicing their swing, or a lifter dialing in a deadlift. Repetition creates mastery. Motor patterning isn't just about memorizing movements, it's about refining efficiency so the body moves with less wasted effort and more power. Training the muscle and fascial chains with leverage. Samurai training wasn't just about isolated strength either. Every movement engaged muscle and fascial chains, the interconnected web of muscles, tendons, and connective tissues that control movement. This principle is seen in lever-based training where the external weight creates resistance at a distance from the body. Samurai weapons like the katana, naginata, and yumi, the longbow, acted as levers, forcing warriors to develop strength and coordination throughout their entire kinetic chain. In modern training, we use Indian clubs to develop shoulder mobility, grip strength, and rotational power, just like the katana drills. Kettlebells mimic the hip-driven power of sword strikes and hammer swings, reinforcing core stability and explosive movement. Cable machines and the mace bells train controlled force through long levers, just like the movements used with pole arms or bows. This type of training builds functional fitness, ensuring muscles and fascia work together as a unified system rather than in isolation. The role of cold and heat exposure in samurai training. The samurai believed in training both the body and the mind through environmental extremes. Two key conditions shaped their resilience and discipline. Misoki was an essential samurai practice, a spiritual and physical purification ritual where the warriors stood under icy waterfalls in winter, and this extreme exposure strengthened their mental resilience, circulation, and focus. Today, athletes use cold therapy, just like ice baths or cryotherapy, to reduce inflammation, speed recovery, and enhance mental toughness. The same principle, embracing discomfort to build resilience, has been used for centuries. Onsen, hot spring recovery. Samurai also understood the power of heat for recovery. After intense battles or training, they soaked in onsen, Japanese natural hot springs rich in minerals that helped with muscle recovery, relaxation, and circulation. Today, we use saunas, steam rooms, and hot baths for the same reason, to enhance recovery, improve blood flow, and relax the nervous system. Cold and heat exposure weren't just rituals, they were tools for resilience patterned down for generations. Whether your core needs the resilience of a samurai for performance, or whether you just need a shield of protection, the Good Back Academy has the solutions, the tools, and exercises you need to be stable, pain-free, and resilient. The principles that built the samurai still apply today. Repetition creates mastery. Motor patterns shape instinct. Strength is built through full body integration. Whether you're swinging a kettlebell, refining a movement pattern, or stepping down into a cold plunge, these are not new ideas. They are the same principles that shaped the greatest warriors in history. So the next time you pick up a kettlebell, step into a cold shower, or relax in a sauna, remember, you're not just training your body, you're walking in the footsteps of the samurai.